Okay, I want to do a versus fight versus Spider-Man and Batman. Um, I both like the characters, and it's hard to figure out who would win out of any of them. But with talking about the characters and what they bring to the fight and what their advantages are and disadvantages are, let me both see let's see what Batman brings to the table of how he what he uses to help him fight. He has a vast arsenal of gadgets and weapons and motor vehicles and detective skills. And he has hand-to-hand combat. He's a hand-to-hand combat specialist. Now, technically, from what you're saying, Batman. Well, a lot of I get. I've been looking at a lot of people saying, well, Batman can just take down Spider-Man, no problem. Okay, let's see what Spider-Man brings to the table. Spider-Man uses his web strength, his super strength, his spidey sense, and his spider agility, and his web shooters. And that's what he brings to the table with powers. Now, technically, with his super strength and his spider agility and super sense, or just being his major powers of the spider, but he also uses his web shooters as well. Um, okay, let me talk about how Batman would fight. How Batman would tend to fight. Like he's a hand-to-hand combat specialist, and he would use his major tech. Tech skill. He can outsmart Spider-Man technically, but Spider-Man's a scientist in its own way, so he has fought villains that he needed to make special webbing for. So he can utilize his smarts because in the animated series, I have seen him make special webbing for Morbius and Hydro Man. So this proves Spider-Man is pretty smart. And not saying he couldn't make a special webbing for Batman, saying he does, saying he doesn't. Now I now let's talk about two of the things that one of the things I wanted to say of why. Let's see what villains have they fought to show that they showcased a lot of their powers by taking them down by themselves. Let's see. It was hard to look at all Batman's rogues gallery, but there's a lot of villains Batman would hit. I mean, come to actually hand-to-hand combat. So for me to say this, the characters that he would mostly fight with those things. He could fight Mr. Freeze, Clayface, Bane, Poison Ivy, and many other villains. It's just they're the first ones that come to mind. But Spider-Man, on the other hand, can fight Green Goblin, Venom, Doc Ock, Lizard, Sandman, Rhino, Carnage. Those are like those are a lot of super powered villains. Now I'm not saying Batman can't fight super powered villains. Batman has occasionally helped Superman, Flash, Wonder, a little bit of other characters in the DC universe fight off their superpowered villains. So he probably has his fair share of other heroes he has outside of Gotham. But those are the ones I first think of that can showcase that Batman can fight against. But this is a disadvantage too, if you literally think about it. Batman's villains are based off of tech. Most of his villains are based off of tech and weaponry. They don't have a lot of basic superpowers like except exception out of Killer Croc and Clayface. I forgot to throw Killer Croc in the mix. Um, Clayface and Killer Croc, except for those having powers. The major ones that he does fight that uses is Mr. Freeze and Bane and Poison Ivy. Now, obviously, Batman can take down his own villains, but at times he does need help to fight certain villains. Now, granted, you could say Batman can beat his own villains, but do you think Batman could fight Spider-Man's villains? Do you think he can literally think? Can he beat Green Goblin, Venom, Doc Ock, Lizard, Sandman, and Rhino and Carnage by himself? By himself? No, he can't. Only with help. When I'm looking at this fight, it has to be by themselves. So, looking at Spider-Man's villains, the ones he fought, you would know Batman would need help to at least take down probably a bunch of these, like Carnage and Venom and Sandman, Lizard, Doc Ock, Venom, and Green Goblin. So you know Spider-Man has had his fights and has taken these characters down by himself. Even when he was fighting the Sinister Six, a group of villains, he used his minds and wits to make the other heroes fight the other villains fight the other villains. So this also showcases Spider-Man can mess with Batman's mind, and both Batman can mess with. They're both mentally, like, how can you say it? Strong. They'll mentally have the focus to be able to fight each other. Now, let's see something that I really, really know. It took a hard deal to figure out who would win. So I'm going to break it down apart. I'm going to break down apart how Batman would win, and then how Spider-Man would win in this fight. Okay, the big things that shows in on these characters are the big thing that Batman brings to the table is Batman has designed ways to stop the Justice League due to the Flash, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, Superman, Wonder Woman, all these characters. But you might think that might be a big play in this fight. That can be true, but Spider-Man has fought with the Avengers and other heroes that also have their superpowered villains. So, no matter who comes out on top with this one, you would have to say Batman. Batman can win in this fight if he just uses his weakness for the Flash, because Spider-Man's super spider sense and spider agility causes Spider-Man to be a little bit more too quicker for Batman. I'm not saying Batman can't be quick enough to catch Spider-Man and catch him off guard. Now, this is something that also brings into play in this fight. What would happen? Green Goblin is able to throw some pumpkin bombs at him. So, I'm not saying that grasp of Spider-Man's spider sense, he can block off a few shots from the Flash thing, that Flash's weakness of how Batman can defeat Flash. Well, it's his spider sense that comes into play. That's what judges that's what I'm kind of double guessing at. Like, it's like part of me saying Spider-Man can deflect it, but he can. Green Goblin is able to throw some pumpkin bombs at him. Who says this can't attack Spider-Man? Now, I waited for the last minute verdict, the last minute person that proves to me that Spider-Man can defeat Taskmaster. I mean, the reason why he can defeat Batman is because he fought Taskmaster. If you look at Taskmaster as a little bit, he's kind of like Marvel's version of Batman. No lie. You have to admit, Taskmaster is able to anticipate anything that any hero has thrown out, and Spider-Man was able to defeat him. But at least stop him. But still, that has to prove for something. Taskmaster is the big wild card on Spider-Man's villain side that he has fought out of his own rogues. So technically, depending on who would win for their both methods in the fight, if Spider-Man had to come to the point where he has to stop Batman from his superpowers already, if he were to have the Venom symbiote, if he just were to find it and come in contact, that kind of enhances his powers. I know Batman will finally figure out like the weaknesses of the suit, but still, like with Spider-Man's enhanced powers with the suit, he can't be stopped. You know, it's like Batman and Spider-Man, it's hard to decide who would win from coming out of the battle. So let me just say, Batman can win if he were to use what he uses against Flash to win. And for Spider-Man to win, he would just have to put on his the black symbiote, and the fight's done. Spider-Man, hands down, wins the fight because of this. And that's literally my who would win out of this. It just depends on what they use to bring to the table. And part of me just says Spider-Man can win because of what he can do. The big thing that comes into play because of Spider-Man would be his spider sense. He would be able to dodge a few of Batman's weapons and dodge a few shots from him using Flash gun. But if the Green Goblin is able to at least get some hits on Spider-Man, Batman would be able to stop him with that. But Batman wouldn't be able to stop him if he had the Venom symbiote. Plus, the Venom symbiote would enhance his powers, and it will take a little bit of Batman to figure out what the weaknesses are. So it depends on which way you take this. There's reasons why Spider-Man will win, and there's reasons why Batman will win. So I hope you guys enjoy this first versus fight. Wow, this is a pretty long video. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Hit the subscription box, and yeah, see you later. I'm Comic Book Dude out.